John's son, Sonny Kagawa. Being cheered on by his lower court legends, teammates. I don't know if Sonny earned his nickname just because of its derivative from his real name, or if it's a reflection of his Sonny personality. But he's a quiet guy, at least around us teachers. I don't know about on the lower field, but around us teachers, he's a quiet guy. But underneath that stillness is a palpable kindness. And maybe guys don't want this said about them, but I'll say it anyway. There's a sweetness about Sonny that's endearing. Every once in a while you'll get a sense of it when he lets a smile sneak out. On the fencing strip, though, there is no sweetness. There, Sonny is a fierce competitor who helped lead our team to a state prep championship this year. I hear the same tenacity is often displayed on the lower court during the lower court Legends game. But Sonny will be attending Kane University next year. I hope he can bring the same tenaciousness he has shown in fencing to his academics there. I know he has the academic ability and interest. The great college essay he wrote proved that to me. Let's make it happen next year, Sonny.
Jamal Kareem. Come on down. Jamal Kareem, and listen Jamal, I'm telling you right now, if nothing else works for you in life, become a game show host. I swear he is born to be a game show host. Get him on the microphone and he starts going and he starts smiling, he starts jumping around, and everybody just kind of gets engaged. And every time I watch him up in front of a room, I just think to myself, yeah, he should be like on Let's Make a Deal or something like that. Jamal has had a very up and down experience here at St. Benedict's. Another guy that probably had fights with Father Ed at least once every other week, if not every week. But Jamal also found ways to display his leadership when in different ways. First of all, we have the 8 senior leaders this year, you know, the senior group leaders, section leaders, the freshman leader, all like that. Jamal declared himself the 9th senior leader this year. And he chose to put himself in the middle of things when decisions were being made. He chose to put himself there. That didn't always meet with everybody's pleasure, but he did that. But here's what really stood out to me. Jamal accepted an invitation from me a couple years ago to attend a camp in the summer called Lead for Diversity, which is designed to help students understand more about bridging gaps between different types of peoples. So Jamal went to that. It really stood out to him. Since that time, Jamal has become a significant leader in a group that we call Real Men. You can still see some of the signs around the room. And trying to get people to understand some of the issues that go on with different people. He successfully organized, over the last 2 years, Black History Month celebrations in the evening with St. Vincent's Academy, and they were well attended. He was one of the guys that put together the Martin Luther King celebration this year and last year. He's been involved in a lot of different aspects of things that have been trying to get people to come together in different ways. So I'm proud of him. Like I said, if all else fails, start applying to game shows. Jamal's going to Rutgers, New Brunswick next year. We're going to miss him.
Kukli Kiminawako. Kukli is a special young man with a very big heart. There are many people that when faced with adversity, either don't have the courage to ask for help, or don't have the drive to keep pushing. Kukli's not one of those people. As a matter of fact, if you didn't know Kukli's story, you wouldn't know that anything was wrong. Kukli can grind. He participated in Drama Guild and worked hard academically despite extremely difficult situation in his life. I'm proud that he allowed many of us to walk with him in this journey, which I know isn't easy. And I want him to know tonight that we'll always be there for you. Hopefully we'll attend Rutgers Newark in the fall. Congratulations.
Vasi Kona. My first memory of Vasi is out on the trail. We're on a bus, and I'm asking the guys to do a very simple task. I can't remember what the task is. And the guys all get to work. He's a sophomore at this point, and they're helping on the trail. They're the service team. This is during the week of the hike. And everyone gets to work, and the jobs get done except for one. I'm like, Vasi, what's going on? He's like, well, it doesn't need to get done right now. That's true, but you need to get it done. And he is that kind of guy. He gets the job done, does it well, but on his time. I know for a fact that Vasi's going to be really well in college. Word of caution, do not be too lazy. Right? Get the job done as soon as you can. The earlier you get stuff done in college, the more fun you'll have. Otherwise, you'll have a lot of late nights, a lot of stressful days, and it's not worth it. So you're smart, you're hardworking, you're bright, you're going to be fun. Just get it done early. All right. It was a pleasure getting to know you. I'll miss you next year. Let's go to St. John's University.
Jalen Lanier. Jalen is a young man who takes everything to heart. He takes things personally, and he takes a personal interest in other people. He's the kind of person who, when he asks you, how are you doing, it's not a throwaway line. He really means it. He wrestled here as a freshman and as a sophomore, I believe. He's a freshman counselor, a group leader, backpacking commander. He's a bright guy with good writing skills. Unfortunately, I don't think we saw as much of Jalen's light this year as we should have. He flew under the radar more than usual this year. I'm not sure why, depriving us of his talent and good nature. He'll continue his education at Seton Hall University, where I hope he will not allow disappointments to stifle all the good that he has in him. Go out there, Jalen. Give it your all, and don't let disappointments knock you down.
Alex Lemus. So I got to know Alex really well this year in physics class. I had him my first semester. First semester was an interesting time. It was my first time teaching physics. So they were helping me learn how to teach a course, and while they were learning physics. But Alex also had a really difficult first semester here at St. Benedict. A first semester senior year this year. He had a really difficult time. His first eval, I think, said F, or D. It was a horrible grade. Horrible grade. And I wrote in the eval, I said, look, he's missing a lot of assignments. I think he's going to bounce back from this pretty well. And lo and behold, he ends up with an A- in the class. He's that kind of guy. Alex, be around the right people, work hard, be yourself, and you're going to be real successful at Fairfield University. Ernst Lozen. Ernst is another guy who had a rough year. I think I talked to Ernst more times in the first month of physics than all of the times otherwise while he was at St. Benedict's Prep. He despite the rough year, he remained a solid student. The issue isn't that you're not smart, that you're not a hard worker. The issue is you don't have confidence in yourself. That's literally your biggest problem. And I think once you start believing in what you can do, and staying positive, you're gonna be fine wherever you end up. Ernst is off to Montclair State University.
Yes, Brian, I'm talking about you. Brian Martinez.
Yeah, Brian!
Brian and I are in group together, and he's been harassing me all week, trying to figure out if I was the one talking about him. But that's nothing new, because he's been harassing me all year. Due to a change in responsibilities I had this year, I was working with the elementary school, and group is something I haven't been to much this year. And I had to hear it from him. If it was once a day, it was 7 times a day. When you come in a group, you come in a group, you come in a group. 2 words that come to mind when talking about Brian. One is personality, which was evident when he walks down the hall. It was certainly evident in group. He has a great smile and a very personable attitude, regardless of what's going on. And the other is dedication. And you got to see the dedication every day after school, when he was a couple of years ago just the guy sweeping the cafeteria, or when he was this guy making sure that everybody else was doing their job, as he worked with Mr. Rodriguez and the rest of the guys in 520. It's through his personality and his dedication that he became a leader in his own way in this class, and did a fine job with 520, and a fine job with his academics, which is why next year he'll be studying at Lehigh University.
Paul Miranda. So while Paul's coming up, I have to make a full disclosure here. This kid grew on me like a fungus over the past 2 years. He's a reformed, former, super annoying freshman with like all the cheesy lines and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying he's any less cheesy now, but when Paul's around, fun and games tend to follow. He's got a whole set of dance videos that are super fun that we got to watch, faculty have seen them all. I've enjoyed listening to his financial disagreements with Mikey Guillory. I hope that whatever that is settled. And of course, sometimes it's more fun for us than it is for Paul. So I learned a lot of a few secrets about Paul in the past couple of years. I learned that he's a really dedicated and loyal person. He works for 520 Corp as well, and his service is consistent, and he shows up for work every day, and I don't mean shows up, he's physically there. He's doing his job, he's doing it to his best, he's pushing Devin to do his job, which I know is a huge, huge lift, so I've always admired your patience there. I also learned that he doesn't hide his fears. He was very open about a fear that he had while we were up at the trail a couple weeks ago. Paul was sleeping in a tent outside of the cabin we were staying at in Muncie, and it was a chilly night, and Paul chose to freeze in the tent all night instead of walk the 15 feet to the cabin because, it was dark out. I also learned that he's very fast with a response when he gets challenged, and he's usually pretty incisive and confident about what he has to say, which is a good voice that will help in college. And I learned that underneath everything, he often thinks of others before himself. He does not want to be the cause of somebody else's pain. And he deeply considers how he treats others when the situation does get serious, when it's not the fun situations. He thinks of others before he thinks of himself. I'm really excited that you get to attend your dream school, and you're going to Stevens next year.
Father Ed mentioned this guy earlier because he's going down to Spring Hill College with the Jesuit school down south, Matt Moreno. Now what I wonder as Matt walks towards me is if Matt actually finished the trail. Matt walked with me when he was a freshman, except he missed a day or two, I forget which it was. And for the next 3 years, he finally finished it a couple months ago, he would come to my office over here at the CAP and he'd go, "Oh, when can I work? See me today after school." 3 days later, I was really busy. I forgot I had soccer practice that day. His love for soccer is what most people know him for. He has a great personality, and even though it took him a while, he did finish what he needed to do for the trail and his commitment to that, and we wish him well down at Springfield. And you get me back to back. Othman Mohammed. Earlier I spoke of Nikes, who is so quiet. Othman is the opposite. You can find him everywhere because I think he's involved in everything. From doing the attendance, to running track, to interviewing you for the newspaper, and the list continues on and on and on. One of the other things that he's very serious about is his academics, which is what helped get him into the NHS and be one of the officers this year in the National Honor Society. Member of my group, so we had many arguments, whether they were academic or personal. One argument we had this year, actually, and this is what I really want to talk about with him, he likes to be challenged. And that was one of our arguments this year about whether he should be challenged or not with a class. He chose to take a religion class. Mr. Adebayo said before, nobody likes taking religion classes. He chose to take a religion class as an elective with Mrs. Elias to be challenged. And has now produced a paper that I haven't seen it yet because Mrs. Elias told me it's some polishing, but a very good paper that he's put together. And it's that determination and that challenge that gets him to Northwestern University for next year.
Obed Narcisse. What can you say about Obed? I don't want to blow his head up too much, but the guy is virtually without fault. His academic record is impeccable. His work habits are outstanding. His manners and graciousness are unbelievable. His kindness towards others and willingness to help those who struggle academically is unmatched. His devotion to his church and God are genuine. And as a Haitian myself, I can say that Obed is what all Haitian parents dream of in a son. But what I also admire about Obed, much like I do in one of his buddies, Rich Araujo, is the ability to remain a kid throughout it all. The ability to still find time to laugh and goof off and keep things in perspective. All of Obed's efforts as a student, group leader, president of the National Honor Society, and overall good citizen have earned him acceptance to Amherst College. Following in the footsteps of Benedict's men like Dr. Sterner and Mr. Riley. I'm sure he'll keep our reputation there strong. Obed Narcisse.
I get to speak about Jeffrey Ofori Jongfo. And I might be one of the few who can actually say that. Jeff transferred to St. Benedict's as a UD2, and it's unfortunate because we really would have wanted you to be here for 4 years. It almost seems like you have been. And he's been a very good contributor to the cross-country team and also to the track team indoors and outdoor track team. His contribution, particularly to my memory, is that Jeff likes to question things. During a routine lesson in chemistry, he quickly found another way to be able to do what I was trying to teach. We recently attended a Careers in Medicine program out in Summit, and during that program, with these very, very distinguished doctors showing him how to do certain things that related to surgery, he actually had the, I wouldn't call it audacity, but actually that drive to actually question why is it done that way as opposed to done in what he saw was a a more direct way. You should continue doing that. And you did that during the time that you were here, and it'll take you far. Take you very, very far. And you'll be attending my alma mater, Rutgers North, and you'll do very well over there. Continue your question.
Michael Acaro. Good morning. Mike wasn't always the fine, articulate, and sophisticated man you see here tonight. As a matter of fact, there were a few times that Mike almost self-destructed. Michael made a decision to work on himself, go into the velvet rope, and work on the one thing that he could control, which was himself. As a result, Michael has grown to not only be a leader here in the school, but he's also an All-American wrestler. I'm proud of Michael. Yeah, give him a hand. He worked hard. We're proud of Michael's ability to be able to trust others and for his compassion and caring for lots of kids here at Benedict's. Michael will be attending Middlesex County College in the fall.
I hear that Obi walked out a couple of seconds ago, so I'll jump over to Omar Osborne. Obi missed his turn, so I'll get back to him. Omar probably remembers the first real personal interaction we had up about one floor up. I was serving pizza to people taking the SAT prep class, and the slice went missing. I think Omar took it. Omar, come on, tell me, did you take it or not? Come on, you can go.
I'm playing. Come on now.
But we've come a long way since then. It's been a pleasure working with Omar this year. Every morning I get a kick out of looking over at Frank Hill and seeing Omar with his arms around Matt, Adonis, Obi, and Jonathan in convocation. Sometimes he gets Manu to sing, I think. Is that possible? But every day he helps make Frank Hill one of the loudest voices at convocation in song and in prayer. So thank you for that. He's a guy who quietly makes friends with everyone from all walks of life in this class. He hasn't had a prominent role in many activities here, but he's involved in a lot of things outside of school. He's involved in a lot of things here, not necessarily in a leadership capacity, but involved in a lot of things here and outside of school. Other than his UD1 year where he slipped a little bit, he's been a very solid student, and that has earned him admission to LaSalle University while he will be studying in the fall. Good luck with him. All right, Obi. That's Chibuzu Omnioke, to be in full, Obi. I have the honor of introducing another lower court legend. Obi is a former Seton Hall guy who joined us after his freshman year there, but he quickly has become a member of this family. He's got a great open personality. Again, another Frank Hill or Peters, which one? Another Frank Hill guy who makes that corner of the room lively every morning. If he doesn't, it's either he has his head in his hands or he's singing at the top of his lungs. I don't know, it's one or the other on a particular day. More often though, he's in there singing, giving his heart to the school. He was a great worker for Mr. Rodriguez in the 520 Corporation until he finally quit. I don't know why, but while he was there, Mr. Rodriguez loved him as an employee. I don't know where he ranks among the lower court legends in terms of points scored and ankles broken. But I do know that he's been a great friend to them, to that circle of guys. And next year he'll be studying at the University of Hartford.
So I've won the lottery. I get to speak about Isaiah Pankey. Now, I don't know who's more nervous about what's going to be said, Isaiah or his mother. But I've talked to his mother enough over the 4 years that I think our relationship's strong enough, so you should be concerned. When the evening started, I was concerned because his mother was sitting at the table all by herself. I thought maybe he stood his mother up for the dinner, but then I realized he was probably valeting cars out front. Now that we've dealt with the elephant in the room, Isaiah has gotten this far despite himself. Every time he gets an opportunity, he finds a way to foul it up somehow, and then figure out how to dig himself out of it, and each time break his mother's heart. Yeah. The one thing that's helped him out is the people that have been behind him. His mother has been there for him all the way through. Mr. Bloor was a big supporter of him since last year when they met. People are still scratching their head why. I'm still scratching my head why I've been something of a supporter for him myself. He's got a lot of potential. You have a lot of potential. But the potential and the smile don't reach achievements. You've got to work on it. He gets a chance next year at Caldwell University.
So Father Ed has Alexis, and Cass is Andrew, and God has seen fit to give me Jefferson Potato. Just so you know, there were bets on whether or not I could make you cough during this. So I'm going to do my best. Tickle. So, and I'm also going to read this so I get it right. So Jeff was voted teacher's pet in the yearbook, and I think I'm to blame for that one. However, in my defense, that's how it is when you meet your intellectual equal, who just happens to be 20-something years younger than you. And then you also find out that he's your son from another mother. So everybody knows Jeff is smart, and I could stand here and throw superlatives at you all day about that. But I want everybody else to know something else about a contribution you've made here. So one of the jobs, and frankly one of the most important goals I have to achieve every year as Dean of Faculty is to maximize our funding through our state grants. And it's essential to our operation. We can't get the textbooks and the technology we need without it. So Jeff has coordinated the forms for each student. He collaborated with teachers on the submission of their students' paperwork. He completed a mail-in to families if they didn't return their paperwork, and collated our entire dossier of paperwork for submission to our district and to the state. All told, his efforts directly yielded over $100,000 of funding for our school. It says volumes about him that he willingly took on a pretty big job like that and successfully completed the responsibility. Jefferson and I share a disconcerting number of the same quirks, like obsessive organization, extreme bluntness. We both love science passionately, and are frankly both big nerds. He keeps me in my place by mercilessly making fun of the words that I use, and if I say something stupid, I'll hear about it for weeks. But when you are able to live and work with someone so like yourself, it makes you feel a little less alone in the world, and I thank you for that. Watching you open your acceptance letter to Harvard was one of the proudest moments of my life. I look forward to being proud again in 4 years. Go do it. No, tickle. There goes my bet. I look forward to being proud again at your college graduation in 4 years. In the meantime, I'm gonna miss you terribly.
Jefferson, stay out of the CrossFit gym at Harvard, will you? We were working out one day in the box, and there was this unbelievable crash. And we turned around in a hurry. The dumbbells are boom off the thing. Jefferson is laying in a heap with the barbell on his chest and all the dumbbells on his head. So I don't know whether that did damage, so watch out at Harvard, but stay out of the CrossFit box, whatever you do, don't go there. You're gonna hurt somebody. Matt Pineda. So Matt and I have gone through a series of, it's like riding a roller coaster. Matt, when he was really little, it's hard to believe he was ever little, but his older brother went to school here, graduated at Monmouth University, and so I knew Matt before he ever came to Benedict's, and I liked him a lot. He was really a great guy. And then he came here, and I hated him. For about 2 years, I said, this kid is insufferable. I couldn't stand him. No matter what you said to him, he had an answer. He couldn't convince me of anything. And then I don't know what happened. Either I changed or he changed, but this year he's been great again. It was the same guy that I knew when he was in elementary school before he ever came. He's a very sensitive guy, a member of our basketball team. This is what's not supposed to happen ever, but and he's basketball is important to him. He's like Nico Black on a nationally ranked team. He played when Coach Taylor needed somebody that could be a spot-up shooter. He didn't play a lot. He was at practice every single day, has worked like a dog to get in the position that he's in, to build his body to what it is. And he's going to Lancaster Bible College. I'm grateful for his faith, and he's a good example to us. So, I hope I don't go through the same cycle. I hope I like him again next year when he comes back to visit. Matt Pineda.
Rounding out the Pinedas with Michael Pineda. Michael Pineda is a member of my group also. We're in Father Philip Huber. He is an academic leader in the group. He is an academic leader in the school. Relentless perseverance is the phrase that comes to mind when thinking of him, whether it's his work or whether he's interviewing you for the Benedict News. A huge contributor to the Benedict News, one of the editors this year, making sure that it continues to pump out news and make Father Ed happy. He was a great guy in group, because he would just sit there and was focused. Didn't care, the whole room could have fell apart all around him, and he was still going to get his work done, and would drag anybody with him if they were interested. Which is why next year he'll be down the turnpike in Princeton.
Nobody, who keeps turning the mic? I don't think the seniors knew this. The guys that are sitting down, stand up on the floor. You may not have known this. I want you to see this. You may be too young to really realize what's going on. The adults will realize it, but none of us knew this all year. The member of our wrestling team was Jonathan. Jonathan Reynolds, a member of our wrestling team, but we never knew that he was a double as a Black Liberace. Look at him. Come on. Play the piano, Ray Charles, Ray Charles. I've seen Ray Charles' clothes. I was at his foundation just recently. Jonathan was a struggler on the wrestling team for a couple of years. He let injuries get the better of him. But in the last year and a half or 2 years, he's come on and been one of the mainstays on our wrestling team, a team that finished in the top 10 in the National Prep School Wrestling Tournament this year. He's been a leader in his group. He's in that corner of the school that kind of carries convo when we're singing and praying in the morning. And I'm grateful for his determination, his unbelievable good example to the younger wrestlers and younger guys in the school with his determination, his disposition, and his consistency every single day, and overcoming that tendency to find little excuses for not doing things. He overcame that after 10th grade and has done a great job. Jonathan's going to study and double for Liberace at St. Anselm College in Manchester.
Hey, put down a video game. Come on up. Aiden Rogers. Aiden, a mainstay on our water polo team and swimming team. He came to us, one of the few guys that actually came to us with a background in swimming. Many of the kids that we get on the team come to us not having ever participated formally in swimming. Aiden came to us as a fairly accomplished swimmer, having been on several teams for years. Joined the water polo team right away, which initially he wasn't so sure he was crazy about, as most swimmers aren't, but found a way and came to enjoy it a lot. But 90% of the time, you will find Aiden with his head in a screen somewhere, usually with headphones on and completely oblivious to the world around him. The good news for him is he's making it work for him, as he found a university, Full Sail University in Florida, which actually has a major which specializes in gaming. So he is actually going to school for his passion, which is an interesting thing to be able to say when his passion is video games. But Aiden and I have had this love-hate relationship for 4 years, far more love than hate, but he's a royal pain in my neck on a daily basis. What I do appreciate about him, I've never said this, but I do appreciate about him is he, as much as I get on him about his grades, he has been all over me about me finishing my grad school work on a daily basis, coming in over this year, checking on me, asking me what my progress was, and making sure that I was doing what I was supposed to do. So I appreciate your love for me. You know I have a lot of love for you, and all the support that you've gotten from your parents over the years has gotten you this far. So, Aiden, studying at Full Sail University next year. Wish you all the best of luck.
No more here? No more Rodriguez? He probably knew I was going to talk about him.
Juan Rosa. Another member of Father Philip Hoover. He served as our group leader this year. Juan is one of those background guys in the class. He was involved with the track team during his time here. He struggled with some injuries in track, but just one of those solid guys, consistent, kept his academics going, kept himself going, was there when his classmates needed him, and is able to go next year and study at Montclair State University.
I'm going to call up Miguel Santander. After I quit the 7th and 8th grade table, I moved over right here to the table where a lot of the kids who speak Spanish sit. And it's been a great journey to be with Miguel and the rest of that community. who've been so kind to try to improve my skills in Spanish too. Miguel, it's interesting, Miguel transferred in as a sophomore and has been quietly plodding along in class and in various different activities in the school. And as you can tell, he's a very, very quiet guy. So I have some advice for you as you move on to college. It's important that you have to bring yourself a little bit more forward. You've done that here in the comfort of this environment, but as you move on to college, it will become a little bit more difficult unless you put more effort into doing that. And you can tell how far you've been able to get by becoming more forward here. So try to keep doing that as you attend. He's going to be attending Essex Community College in the fall. Good luck to you guys. Oh, twofer. I get to speak about Adonis, Scotland too. I'm going to stand next to you so you can't hit me. I love to bring analogies, not just here, but to the class too. We learned a lot from Coach John Valerio in his ability to tell kids that what he teaches them on the track, on the field, translates into your work, not just in the classroom, but in life. And you and I, have learned a lot from the very esteemed coach, Coach Jimmy Wandling. And it's about presence. A lot of the times, Adonis is physically present, but that's about it. Unless he's in the presence of Coach Jimmy Wandling. And so you have to bring that, because you won't have Jimmy Wandling next year. If all you're bringing is your physical body, and this is not there, you're not going to go very far. There's a reason why Coach Wandling makes every single kid stand. It's not just the kids who are actually on the pitch. If you look at the other soccer teams, all their kids are literally on the bench if they're not playing. Our kids are not. And you have to take that to heart as you move on. You can't just be sitting around. Stand up and be physically and mentally present as you move on to Rutgers Newark once again, my alma mater. Good luck to you guys. Show up. Show up.
Introducing Justin Sierra. So I work out with Justin's godmother, Brenda, and one day we're talking at the gym, and she says, I'm worried about Justin. He's always on those video games. He's got to get out of the house. You know, is he socializing at school? What's going on? I'm like, Brenda, he's fine, he's fine. And Justin hangs out in my office, so in the course of talking, he's telling me about his side hustle. And I said, man, that's what the video games are doing. But I didn't tell your godmother. So Justin's been playing for a fee. Some people hire him to play to get them to a higher level on their games, and they pay him to get them there. Right? It's pretty good. So I said, man, that's leveraging your passion, your talent, just like Aiden with his games. Justin is a really positive guy and curious. He's enthusiastic and involved in class. Doesn't quit a job until it's done and done well. And you've got this consistent focus in the classroom, so that at the end of the term, when everybody else is flipping out that their stuff isn't done, you just sail on through because you've done everything up till then, and you finish strongly. And every time I've had that experience with you. So I mentioned Justin hangs out in my office, and he's a really lively presence. He always has great stories that he's picked up on his travels throughout the day to tell, like what happened in group that day, or he saw freshmen being foolish in the hallway, so there's a great storytelling quality that you have. And what you guys should all know about Justin is he's got this resilience and this perseverance in his life through all things, through your challenges, your medical challenges, and any other challenges you experience, you bounce right back up. and you show up and you don't quit, and it's just not in your vocabulary. So because he never allows challenges to get the better of him, that's why I know you are going to do so well at Monmouth University next year.
We had to suffer through him being called Baron for a long time. Byron Simmons, come on up. I think it's more like Baron Simons or something like this. Byron is a superstar on our track team. And he actually went to nationals, 3 times this year? And about to go to another nationals championship. Very quiet contributor. And the reason why you've been successful over here at St. Benedict's is because you have surrounded yourself with the right crowd. You're about to go to, I know the university where you're going to. So my advice to you, and thank you so much for all your contributions during the time that you've been here. You learned that because you are surrounded by a very strong team, they've been able to pull you forward. You have to be very careful as you move on to the university you'll be attending next year to continue to surround yourself with the right people so that you can continue to become, to reach the potential that's within you. Byron will be attending New Haven University next year.
Toy Smith. Two years ago, I think it was, I was convinced to start doing CrossFit workouts, and I showed up, and a toy became my inspiration. I wanted to look like a toy. After a couple of days, I realized it would never happen. But a toy was always there working out, getting himself in shape for wrestling season. And every time I showed up, a toy was the first one. Come on, Cash, you can do it. Push yourself, you got it, everything else. And even when wrestling season came around, a toy would still come back to me frequently and go, "Did you go to work out this morning? How you doing? How's it going?" And so I always appreciated that. But the toys had this kind of quiet, steady presence in the class over the years. And that's not to say the same type of quiet that we've heard about like Keith or others, but Toy's the kind of quiet where he doesn't draw a whole lot of attention to himself. He just gets things done consistently, day after day. He works hard, and he can be a friend to anybody and everybody. I don't think I've ever seen a Toy get mad. He always has a smile on his face, and he's been a big help to me. He was a big help on the trail, both as an adjutant to me and as a commander, an important part, a captain on the wrestling team, and just overall a great guy. We're going to miss you next year when you go to the University of Delaware. Wish you all the best of luck.
Tyler Sousa. Tyler is another one of those guys that came from Bermuda. He came with his little cousin Daniel Cook, who we all call Cookie. Moved into the house last year when I was working there. Got to know him very quickly. He's got a big personality. When he walks into a room or a space, he makes himself known. That first year, for any student who transfers into Benedict's or any student who comes to Benedict's from another place, it's always a tough transition. Tyler went through that tough transition. All right, the real test is how you pull yourself out of it. And in that first year, Tyler went from having horrible grades, having a horrible time at the school, to having pretty damn good grades and getting along just fine. Tyler's got a lot of growing up to do still, but I know for a fact that when he goes to Oxford Brookes University out in England, he's going to do great.
I'd like to call up Raekwon Strickland. Hurry up here, bud. There we go. If you take a look at Raekwon, you would swear that we were at a 6th grade graduation. I get to take pictures of every single freshman during the first week of overnight so that they can have an ID. And I really couldn't believe when Raekwon presented himself and said, "Yeah, I'm a freshman." I say, "St. Mary's as well." I talk about your size because, and in researching, because I could say all things about, "Oh, you did great in class, etc., etc." And he did. He did very well in the classes he's had with me. But in researching what Raekwon's contribution is here at the school, I remember a fight that is forever captured on video. I was taking B-roll for a documentary for the school, and we thought we had this really awesome view of kids being dismissed from convocation. And next thing you know, there's this giant wave of kids falling all over the place off of Gray Section, and Paul Miranda and Raekwon Strickland are at it, falling all over the bleachers. Soon to be on those screens. That's why they're black right now. At any rate, Raekwon, with his size, it's interesting about momentum, right? Mass times velocity is your momentum. Well, how does Raekwon's mass compare to, for instance, Jean's mass? Raekwon wrestled at the 120 level when he was supposed to be wrestling 106. And Jonathan explained how incredibly difficult that is, because some of those kids that he wrestled to qualify for nationals had been cutting from 140 pounds. This 106-pound guy was wrestling a 140-pound competitor. You gotta take that same force that you knocked him off that bleacher. Or was it the other way around? You got to take that same force and take it with you when you get to college, and you'll go so far. The same way that shot put goes from Ajan's hand, you can go far too. Because if you are fast, doesn't matter what your mass is, right? Good luck to you. You'll be attending Ramapo College. That's right, you're wearing it today. Congratulations, Raekwon. Good luck.
There are so many stories people could tell about Tavon Thomas that I don't even know where to start. Tavon has been here a long time. He went to St. Mary's before he came to St. Benedict's. And he stood out to me when he went to St. Mary's because I would watch as the classes, especially when he was in 8th grade, I'd watch as the class would come down to lunch every day, and this kid, I didn't know who he was at the time, this kid always had that look on his face like he was up to something. I never knew what it was, and he was always in line, but he always looked like he was up to something. And then he showed up, and his first year struggled a lot here. And I remember conversations with him and his mom, and there were times when his mom was ready to throw in the towel, or times when we were ready to get rid of him. And yet he kept pushing, somehow he kept going. And over the years, he's really taken on a life of his own here at the school. Sometime, I think it was the beginning of last year, maybe the end of 10th grade year, when he decided to join 520 Corporation. And that was really a turning point for him. Working with Mr. Rodriguez and the guys in 520, he really started to find, I think, himself a little bit and figure out that he could have a real place in the school year. I've had the distinct pleasure, or maybe not always a pleasure, of having Tavon in every course that I've taught, that I teach here at St. Benedict. I teach a first aid course, Tavon took it. I teach a leadership course, Tavon took it. I teach a diversity course, Tavon took it. I don't know how he ended up in all my classes, but he did. Never signed up for a single one, but had to go through all of them. But here's the last thing I'll say about him. At the beginning of my diversity class, I put some quotes up on the wall, and I have kids go walk around and say what they think, and write on the board what they think about each quote, and it's kind of a silent conversation, so they respond to other kids. And Tavon, being Tavon, not knowing how profound he actually was being, writes on the board underneath one of the quotes, "I don't know what I don't know." Now he thought he was being funny. What he didn't know was that was the exact title of the next day's lesson. Is that my course is about learning what we don't even know that we don't know. And so Tavon was actually setting us up perfectly for what was coming next in the course, and he had no idea he was doing it. But that's what he is. He's very bright. He just hasn't realized how bright he is and how to put all that into action. And I know it's coming. I've told you this 1,000 times. His mom came in later that week when we had parents' night, and she looked at the thing, and they don't have to write their names next to it. So he says, I don't know what I don't know. It says it on the board. No name next to it. And his mom comes in and she goes right away, "That's my son's, I can tell already." Tavon has decided to not go to college next year, but instead he already has plans to go to work. I respect that decision in him. I think it's probably a wise decision for you right now, and I'm hoping you're going to come back and visit us a lot. Tavon is definitely one of my favorite guys.
All right, Tiago Torres. All right, so Tiago's another one who I've had the pleasure of working with in our group, Father Eugene Schwartz. Unfortunately, the yearbook does not have a category for the strangest laugh, because if there was one, it would be Tiago's, hands down. So Tiago's laugh, Tiago's laugh, I think I would liken it probably to that of a hyena. Not only the people in my group can attest to that, but people 3 doors down can, because that's how loud it is. But no, in all seriousness, as much as sometimes that laugh can be quite annoying, I see it as a sign of Tiago's huge sense of humor. Anyone in our group, whenever you walk in, you see a huge group of kids crowded around him laughing. He's always the center of some joke, always starting a good time. And this is something that's going to be useful in his next few years at Drew University. That's a good one. Because as many of us can tell you, undergrad can be a frustrating experience. It can become stressful, and sometimes we'll hit some dark times. But having that sense of humor is always going to help you to find that light, no matter what the circumstances are. So, Tiago, I thank you for your sense of humor and for your friendship over these past few years.
Nick Valentine. Nick's another guy that I've known since his 8th grade year. He took my fencing, my 8th grade fencing class. I always wished he would become a fencer, and sadly he did not. And he stayed away from the fencing team for a few years, but this year he ended up being our fencing manager. And like I said earlier, last year didn't go so well with our fencing managing, and this year Nick brought it all together. And it seems, I mean, being a manager, it seems like, oh, that's you taking the easy way out. we worked Nick pretty hard this year, and he helped. He was almost like an assistant coach, because when he got his job done, whether it was attendance and cleaning out equipment and taking care of stuff, he would then come with us to watch the guys run stairs, and he would run up the stairs and make sure guys were doing what they were supposed to do. He would participate in some of the workouts with the guys. He would encourage them. He cheered them on. He was an integral part of the team. And Nick is an incredibly bright guy who hasn't reached his full potential yet. And I hope that you just keep working and you keep believing in yourself, because you're going to do great things. All right? You're going off to Bloomfield College, correct? Congratulations.
Isaiah Whitaker. Isaiah Whitaker comes to us not by chance. He's a legacy, there's a family connection. He has good grades, National Honor Society, solid guy in the class, all these great things we could talk about. Here's the interesting part about Isaiah. It had to be going into 10th grade, and again going into 11th grade, where he comes and says, well, can I miss the first 2 days? I have a chance to attend this camp, and he goes through this whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a golf camp. Isaiah showed up on day one with his golf clubs. I have not played him on the links because I don't know how to play, but from what everybody tells me, he's very good, and it's a passion of his, and it's one thing that really separated him from his classmates, made him a little special there. It was the love and energy he brought in with him, and still carries with him today. And hopefully will carry with him next year when he goes off to Stevens Institute.
So, I know you all don't have lists in front of you, but for anybody that's trying to figure out how many could they possibly have left, there are 2 left. And I have the pleasure of talking about the last 2, and the interesting part is there are 2 very, very prominent guys in the class and in the school. First one being Dalen Woody, our senior group leader. Dalen's freshman year, he didn't really stand out all that much. His older brother was here, but Dalen just kind of went through the motions, and by his own admission at an event earlier this year, you know, kind of was harboring some internal emotional issues and things like that, and wasn't allowing himself to really take advantage of things. But then, 10th grade year, he allowed himself to take advantage. He was invited to be a counselor for the freshmen, and became a counselor, and repeated that in his 11th grade year, and then that led to him being named the senior group leader for this year, a job that he has done very admirably. What was interesting, for those that may not know what a senior group leader is or does, he's responsible for making sure that the school works every single day. And whenever things need to get done, and especially when things aren't getting done correctly, the first guy that people go to and the guy that gets yelled at the most is Dalen. And he's graciously accepted that. Early in the year I was concerned, as were a few others, and he met with a lot of us about it, that he wasn't being vocal enough and wasn't being clear enough. And in fact, he was invited to speak at a couple of events and meetings. And the first couple of meetings he went to, his responses were kind of like, yes, no, maybe. And it's like, okay, Dana, we need more out of you. You need to speak. And so then he was invited to speak at a very high-powered summit in New York City in late October, I guess it was. And when I say this is a high-powered summit, I mean that people pay $5,000 a ticket to get into this summit. Okay, and Dalen was invited to be on a panel about education in America. This was held, I think there's some pictures still on our website of it. This was held at the Hyatt, I think, in New York City, and I accompanied him, and we get to the Hyatt, and we walk in, and they had the check-in table for speakers. And so we walk in, and or they had the regular check-in table. Said, no, you got to go over there for speakers. And so we go over, and they say, oh, and Mr. Woody, yes, and here's your thing. And he has a tag, nice tag, you know, Concordia Summit, David Woody, speaker. And I said, okay, and where do I go? And they said, oh, okay, here's your badge. My badge had no name on it. It said, speakers staff. I said, all right, I see my place. It just got better because after he did such a great job of speaking, and they were all. And when I want to tell you who's in this meeting, right? One of the heads of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was part of it. The head of Princess Hall Publishing was part of it. The assistant secretary of education was part of it. This was not a know-nothing group. You know what I mean? He was part of it, and they were all so impressed. So the conversation was over. It was time to leave. We were walking down the stairs. I thought we were going to catch the subway back to New Jersey. And as I'm headed to the door, he goes, "Oh no, we're going up to the bar. They invited me up to for the conversation." I said, "You can't even drink." Yeah, they said I don't have to drink, but I should come up anyway. So then we sat down, and as the speaker's staff, it took me 15 minutes before anybody spoke to me, but they were talking to him the whole time. Dalen has been a great senior group leader. I'm really proud of the man that you've become, and I'm really glad that you've trusted in me and so many others here. I wish you all the best of luck going out to St. John's University in Minnesota, where I know he'll continue to be a strong leader. They'll probably be mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I graduated from the University of Notre Dame. I love the University of Notre Dame. But this year, for the first time since I graduated from the University of Notre Dame in the early 90s, I seriously considered, I can't do it, but I seriously considered cutting all ties with the university. Because Travis Wright applied to go to Notre Dame. I cannot think of a better candidate for Notre Dame than Travis Wright. Notre Dame did not accept him. And I am extremely upset with the University of Notre Dame for not accepting Travis Wright. But let me tell you more about Travis and why I'm upset about this specifically. If there is anything that you need to figure out, go find Travis. Anything. On a daily basis, when schedules had to be changed, on a daily basis when we had to figure out how we were going to move the whole school someplace, or when we had to figure out how this was going to get cleaned up, anything. Dalen, right? Where's Dalen? This is the guy, right? It was find Travis. Travis will organize it. If you ever watched Travis in a meeting, Travis was the guy. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. No, wait, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and here's how it's going to work. He's everywhere and got his fingers on everything, and when he does, it works. I always say it doesn't work, everything's his fault, but it works. Travis has been a leader on the crew team for all 4 years. He's been a leader on the fencing team. He is part of all kinds of activities here at the school. He is a friend to everybody. Another guy that you rarely see get angry. He would get a little mad at gray section from time to time in convocation, but you rarely see him get angry. He's smiling most of the time. He's a very bright student, excellent grades, very upset with Notre Dame for not taking him. Travis, really proud of everything that you've done. Thank you for your time here, and we're going to miss you as you head out to Rutgers University.
So one question, is there any senior that came in late that we missed? If you're here, stand up. If somebody came in late, we didn't get your name on the sheet. Who we missed? We didn't miss you, you just stand up. Listen, so Cass found out what I've known about Notre Dame for years. They're fakers. They've always been fakers. They're still fakers. Believe me, we got to get on our knees to beg to get somebody into Notre Dame. We get them into Harvard, we get them into Princeton, you can't get them into Notre Dame. They're fakers. Don't let anybody tell you different. They're fakers. And they're really, don't get me going, they're really not interested in having kids of color unless they play football or basketball. No interest. They're fakers. Where's Douche? don't know what you think I have any strong opinions about Notre Dame, but we did you? So, for the purposes of recognizing everybody at once, I present to you the class of 2017. So, guys, you can sit, and then what we'd like to do, parents, if you guys sit down quietly, then we have some individual awards for performance in the class that we'd like to do at this point.
Nominations for the award to a selection committee of faculty members, not including the headmaster or president. The committee selects the winner from this group and passes its recommendation on to the president. And to introduce past recipients of the award, I'd like to call up Mr. Thornton, who himself, Mr. Paul Thornton, class of 1963, who himself is a past recipient of the Presidential Award.
Thank you. My role really is just to recognize those who are here with us this evening. This will be the 70th presentation of this award. First recipient, Joe Barber, is still with us. I spoke to him the other day, and he wanted to extend his congratulations to all the students who are nominated this year and to the young man who was chosen to receive the award this year. Among us this evening, most of you know them, certainly the students do. Tom Leahy won 1977. Glenn Cassidy was the recipient in 1990. Craig White in 2004. Richard Molina, class of 2006. Elliot McFarland, the class of 2012. And the only one who's not a colleague here, it is with us tonight, is Najee Omari, class of 2014.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. All right, the following seniors have been nominated by the faculty to be considered for the Presidential Award. And I ask them to stand when their name is called and to remain standing. Kwabena Asante. Kwabena Asante, GPA of 3.73, freshman counselor, assistant group leader, group games commissioner, headed to NJIT. Kwabena Asante. Fasi Bati. GPA of 3.53, lead actor of the Drama Guild, leader of the Interfaith Campus Ministry, booth crew, group leader of Father Valerian, headed to Rutgers, Newark. Nicholas Black. .87 GPA. Captain of varsity soccer team, member of National Honor Society and admissions team, group leader of Father Thomas, headed to Fairfield University. Joseph Carmona. GPA of 3.78. Leader of admissions team, member of National Honor Society, leading our blood drive this year, backpacking commander, overnight counselor, manager of varsity soccer team, Group leader Father Eugene, and headed to the U.S. Naval Academy. Jose Estrella. .335 GPA. Lower division leader. Backpacking commander. Freshman counselor. Member of the National Honor Society and member of the National English Honor Society. Varsity crew for 4 years. Headed to Boston College. Jeremy Ferreira. .37 GPA. Varsity fencer for 4 years. Co-captain who helped the Epic team win 3 state championships. Backpacking commander. Headed to Drew University. Obed Narcisse. .99 GPA. President of National Honor Society. Member of National English Honor Society. Group leader for Prof Blood. Editor of the Benedict News. Member of Middle States Planning Team. Headed to Amherst. Jefferson Pereira. .93 GPA. Varsity crew for 3 years. Unofficial assistant dean of faculty. Past president of the National Honor Society. Vice president for service for the National English Honor Society. Headed to Harvard University. Michael Pereira. .95 GPA. Member of the Benedict News for all 4 years. Currently editor-in-chief of the Benedict News. Member of the National Honor Society. Headed to Princeton. Dalen Woody. .41 GPA. Senior group leader. Varsity wrestler. Captain since sophomore year. Gravy Jazz Band. Headed to St. John's in Minnesota. Travis Wright. .69 GPA. Member of the National Honor Society and National English Honor Society. Gray section leader. Backpacking commander. 3-year varsity fencer and currently a co-captain. 4-year varsity crew and co-captain. Headed to Rutgers, New Brunswick. Abbott Melvin Valvano present the winner of the Presidential Award.
I'm going to take this mic back to the Abbott.
Not because I would get lost in there, it still bothers me. What I was thinking throughout the presentation, not its length, but its content. It's quite remarkable that such a group of diverse young men come together here in a very limited way, education, and become a family, and become a group of men that will always know one another from a highly personal way. And we hope continue to contribute to this place, blessed by God. We're privileged to have met adult men and women, staff and teachers who change lives. And it was literally a pleasure to listen to you and rejoice who you are for the world now. Be sure you do for others what has been done for you in your own personal, public or private ways. The recipient of the St. Benedict Medal this year is Travis Gray.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Travis, as you know. First off, I'd like to thank my family for all their love and support that they have done. I'd like to thank my brother for waking up early with me and dealing with my struggling schedule every day. I'd like to thank the faculty for all the time they've put in, motivating me, pushing me to be the best that I can be. I'd like to thank my coaches for putting in the hours that they have put in to help me become a state champ and a rower in 2 sports that were very foreign to me. I'd like to thank all my brothers in the class of 17 for all the good memories, all the headaches, great section, but we made it, so thank you and get home safely.
Is Brother Simon here?
Yes.
Ah, Brother Simon. I knew you would let us down, Brother Simon. Brother Simon, we're going to say blessing before we sing Alma Mater and say goodbye.
Let's bow our heads. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Father God, we give glory and honor to you who calls us each by name. Thank you for giving the monks and teachers the opportunity to be stewards of this school. We humbly ask that you give us the courage to continue to seek your face through the daily interactions with these students. Thank you for bringing us all together to celebrate the accomplishments of your children. Thank you for blessing our students with the wisdom to discover their gifts. And now for the seniors. May God grant you the wisdom to know the difference between your wants and your needs. May you sing for joy, even in dark and lonely times. May you promote justice and peace in the world, even when hatred is being spread. May you celebrate and lift up those around you, even when the applauses cease. May you know that you are loved, no matter what or who you are. And may God, our God, bless and keep you in all that you do, so that his kingdom continues. Amen. Amen.
Before we sing the seniors lead us in the Alma Mater, I want to thank everybody. I hope you thought it was worth it. It's a little long, but I think it's worth doing it for these guys. Just a reminder, convo is at 8 in the morning. Everybody's not getting pushed back. Everybody's got to be there. And parents, we hope to see you. Some people have asked about tickets for graduation. The kids will get those tomorrow. They'll bring them home. And you're welcome. I hope we see you all at graduation on Sunday afternoon. Okay. Father Albert's here. Here comes Father Albert. I'd also like to thank, I don't know if it was clear, but people maybe wonder, why was that? Why was Miss Torto in the picture? Miss Torto, for those people who don't know it, who are parents, is the Dean of the Faculty. So everything that goes on here from an academic point of view and some others, things are all because she drives that agenda. So Michelle is the brains of the operation.
I'm going to ask you to please stand. Seniors, this is the last time you're going to sing the alma mater as students. Then we sing it on Sunday, you'll be alumni by now. Seniors don't need to look at the words on the back of the program, but others may want to join them on the back of the program. Thy praises now we want to sing, ever dear Saint Benedict, our loyal hearts to thee we bring, ever dear Saint Benedict, for God, for country, and for thee, be this our watchword Trinity, thy sons forevermore are we, ever dear Saint Benedict, all hail to thee, our mother blessed, ever dear Saint Benedict, no son but he thy least behest, ever dear Saint Benedict, when left behind our prep school days, our golden carefree student ways, we still shall sing thy deathless praise, ever dear Saint Benedict.
Thank you everyone for coming. Wish you a good night, safe travels home.